A few hours of perseverance and a soldering iron later, and my camera rises like a phoenix from the ashes. Yet, unfortunately, my mediocre repair skills are not the topic of this video. Kiryu Coco, one of the largest VTubers and the highest earning YouTuber in the world, last I checked, has graduated. God, I hate that term. It is a term that comes from the Japanese idol industry, one of, if not in fact, the shittiest industry on the face of the earth. I'm in fact pretty damn sure that there are industries that utilize literal child labor with higher ethical standards than the idol industry. It is awful. Beyond awful. Mere words cannot describe the sludge pool that it is. It is in fact so awful that I would put games journalists further up on the hierarchy of good in comparison. Much greater of a condemnation I don't think really exists. Anywho, if you are unaware of all of this, well, I did do a video a few months, year or so ago, going VTuber news, half jokingly, but the thing is, the phenomenon that is VTubers has become a pretty large and integral part of the online geekdom sphere on YouTube and on the internet in general, in fact. It has extended beyond anime, manga, and the more Japanese spheres into now English and Western interpretations as well, and gaming, of course, too. It has become a almost overnight success that has become a major part of our culture, for lack of a better word. And so it also says a lot about the corporate aspect of it, which we'll return to in a second here, but Kiryu Coco created a lot of drama, a while ago, whilst when reading her analytics, she mentioned Taiwan as a country. Whoopsie. And ever since, she was hounded online by Chinese communists, which are apparently a rather determined bunch, as it turns out, even going so far as to stalking her various profiles, social media, offline accounts, and of course also hammering her various collaboration attempts with other Hololive VTubers. This eventually led to quite the kerfuffle, I've been told, where, whilst invading the chat, and bear you in mind, Hololive often has some rather draconian chat restrictions, the banhammer came down swiftly and ferociously, banning not just a bunch of bots, but an absolute ton of genuine fans as well. It's been a hectic time for Kiryu Coco, to put it mildly, and now the sudden graduation. No lead up, no warning, no preamble, just out the door you go. Now, there's been a lot of speculation as to whether or not this was Kiryu Coco's own decision, or if it was a executive decision on behalf of Hololive to see her graduated. In these things, you really cannot know one way or the other, as even if the talent themselves comes out and says, oh no, this was totally my decision, it smacks an awful lot of the politician months after a major drama crisis that goes on television and says, yes, I've decided I need to spend more time with my family and will withdraw from politics. Oh really? You don't say. Yeah. I don't know. Now, I was about to say, I speak Japanese, but let's not go quite that far, because my pronunciation is awful. Japanese is a derpy language, which is basically exactly the other way around from English and Norwegian and pretty much anything we speak over here, making it rather complicated, but I do understand the language. I watched Kiryu Coco's graduation video, and I mean, to me, she sounded genuinely distraught. Like, I'm pretty sure there was a point there where she had to mute her microphone to conceal an outburst of sobbing, is what it sounded like to me. She did not sound happy about this at all. She did not sound prepared, nor did she sound like this was something she wanted to do. One can read into that whatever one wills, of course, but not to leave too much to a judgment, but to me, it certainly does smack of corporatist decisions. On top of this all as well, Kiryu Coco debuted in late December 2019, I believe. So her entire career has been, what, 2 years? A little under? Man, this is what I mean. This is the problem with the corporatization of YouTube, and we're seeing it more and more over here as well, outside of the VTuber influence, but it is by far the most noticeable right now in the VTuber market with stuff like Hololive. You have individuals, you have talents that have massive success that they may very well not be prepared for. I mean, imagine going from nothing to 100,000 plus subscribers over the course of a day or so, an overnight internet sensation, eventually ending up with millions of subscribers over the course of a year. Now, on the one hand, that is many people's absolute dream, and I could certainly use some of that growth myself. By the way, like the videos, peasants. I do need to start saying that, because it genuinely does help, so I really need to start shilling that. But anywho, my woes aside, my point is, this is not a business that is suitable to everyone. In fact, I believe the personal aspect, the public aspect of being a YouTuber can be goddamn stressful. And, I mean, as we have seen with many YouTuber personalities, it can break people. It absolutely can break people. It requires a certain mental build. I shan't go so far as to say fortitude, because that implies you can build it up, but I really do think that this is something that you kind of have to be almost made for, to be able to accept and understand, to be able to disconnect yourself a little bit from the madness and the craziness of having thousands of people watching you, of having thousands of people commenting on your videos, talking to you, interacting with you, and so on. It can be difficult, absolutely. And oh boy, when it's good comments, hey, it's amazing. It's great. Like the recent funny video on workers and resources, for example. I am absolutely loving the comment section on that one, because I put a lot of effort into that video, and seeing people say that it was actually funny, like, man, that is so nice. That is so genuinely nice, especially since I re-recorded it, watched it, and re-edited like 5 times, each and every time going over and being like, is this actually funny? Or is this just boring, trivial garbage? You know, because that is the problem whenever you're creating anything. The creator is probably always the most uncertain individual in the room, and when you then have thousands, if not tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people yelling at you over a mistake you made months ago, yeah, Jesus, that can chip away at your sanity, absolutely. Even worse so when you're under essentially contract with a company and your future can be like this, unraveled over the course of a month. I mean, her final live is now happening, I think, the 1st of next month, so less than a month. You go from being one of the highest earning individuals on YouTube to just disappearing in a month. Holy shit. What does that do to someone? Now, Kiryu Coco has another channel as well, I do believe. I won't link to it because I don't know for sure. I've just been told that she apparently has a second channel, and I'm sure that a lot of her fans will go over there. I'm sure she'll be fine, at least I hope so, but God, I despise the corporatizational side of this. You have, and to be fair as well, this is a more nuanced topic than just corporation bad, because on the one hand, if Kiryu Coco had just started a YouTube channel, just started out as a VTuber, because there's a lot of VTubers out there, an absolute ton, it was a major phenomenon, and a lot of people trying to capture that lightning in a bottle and repeat the meteoric success of certain individuals. They don't make it. 99.9% of YouTubers never get anywhere, because once it is an absolutely ginormous platform, YouTube is not on your side. YouTube is not interested in smaller creators at all. There's no mechanism for which people to really discover them. And not to mention the YouTube algorithm themselves are an arcane, nonsensical thing that no one fully even truly understands, like the recommendation nonsense, for example. This is one of the most important ones, and one of the things that led me to creating my second channel. After my lore channel got hacked, the amount of times the channel's videos were recommended to people plummeted to an apocalyptic degree. I think I lost like 70 to 80% of the recommendations just gone overnight. Not to mention also all of the various flags placed on that channel. This channel is actually having more recommendations, or not more. It's already got about half the total recommendations of my lore channel at its peak. Despite that channel then having like 4 times the subscribers, this one is actually growing far more organically and far better again, which is YouTube. But there's no guarantee that Kiryu Coco would have been a success if she'd just been a normal VTuber. Being able to work with a corporation like this essentially guarantees you overnight success. It guarantees you an overnight livable income. But at the same time, it deprives you of virtually all of your actual rights as a YouTuber. You are no longer a self-employed individual, though one could argue that we are essentially employees of YouTube at this point, to the point that we even need to pay them taxes, of course, but hey, details. And there is no security. There is no safety. I'm pretty sure they're not even really truly counted as employees for Hololive, because that would have given them certain rights at the very least, but who knows, I don't know their contract, maybe they do, maybe they don't. And I do believe firmly that this is a view of things to come. Once corporations have already started doing this, where they see the benefit of putting on a personalized face, pretending to be, oh no, we're just everyday Joes, just like you and me, ha 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 ha, let me put on a friendly face here. People buy into it, and you can't compete with them. Like if an organizer, like you can look at Fox News, CNN, the major news anchor stuff, they're practically just making YouTube videos now. Like that has become a thing where major news networks make ridiculous outlines like, this person smashes that politician on this topic in all caps letters. It's YouTube commentator nonsense. Once companies like Microsoft, for example, figure out that, we can build up a stable of talents which we can fire at any time for any reason to pretend that we have a more human side to us, they're going to do so. And they're going to put millions into the marketing, they're going to put millions into research, and they're going to go knocking on YouTube's door and going, hey, can we, just like the news corporations, get preferential treatment? And YouTube, not understanding that these are the very self-same companies who will bend them over a barrel and ravage them bloody in an instant if they get the chance, will simply just go like, oh yes, of course, we're all friends here. Right? Right? I'll see about that. Ah, man. It's a bit of a doomerish thing, isn't it? Because I almost feel like the idea of the independent YouTuber, the idea that YouTube was built on, has had its golden age, and now we are most definitively heading towards an age of decline. Oh well, let's hope my pessimistic ass is wrong yet again. My sympathies to Kiryu Coco, and I hope she lands on her feet, and my heartfelt fuck yous to cover to Hololive and all of the corporate YouTubing nonsense along that lines. It's not a good thing. I really do hate the fact that this is becoming less and less YouTube and more corporate tube, but what can you do? Until next time, I'm Minaj. Thank you all very much for watching, and I hope to see you all again soon with something a hint more uplifting. I mean, hey, at least the recent Battlefield trailer looks good, right? No whammon cyborgs for a mile around, and dudes jumping out of jets and shooting down other jets with Carl Gustavs. Maybe they actually did learn something from the monstrous debacle that was Battlefield 5. Silver linings and all that. Have a good day.